out of the long form of D&D Failed, this is probably going to be one of the shorter ones. Hence, they may have failed mystics, but they failed them so bad they're not even in the game as Morden subclasses. So this will be pretty short. And it's really weird. They couldn't adapt or bring forth, like they did everything else, from earlier editions. I don't exactly know how many of the earlier ones, but I do know that at least 3rd and 3.5 had mystic or psionic classes. And yet, we don't even have more than subclasses in this. It seems like they just really don't want to have more than 12 core classes. And it's kind of interesting because they stop at 13 with the bonus of adding Artificer, but they still aren't planning on adding it into the new PHB that's coming out, I believe, next year. And one of the mistakes they did with the unearthed arcana versions of it was, instead of creating something like psionic slots or mystic slots to be comparable to spell slots, they decided to give them psi points, which is effectively mana but for psionics. And it's like, well, marshals don't use stamina and mages don't use mana, so why would you give only one class points and kind of give them an unfair advantage? And it wasn't even balanced. It was so horribly imbalanced that they tried, I believe, 3 different times before they just gave up and made them subclasses. And some, I guess, pseudo-magical weapons have psionic damage and stuff, but it's really not a great attempt at all. It was very, very pathetic. And if you actually remember, or I'm pretty sure actually you could probably find the old unearthed arcana of the mystic, it described the weave and the way they utilize the weave is just a different type of utilization or manipulation of it, which effectively is just saying, oh, so it's still magic, but what's different about it? Oh wait, psychic, you're using your head, so it's mental controlled or powered magic? It literally has no unique identity to it. And it's a very big failing to not be able to make psionics and mystics. Now, granted, in our core system, we have put a lot of effort into defining them. And later on, when you see the D20 core system video on this mystic grouping, you will see exactly what we mean by defining it differently from magic. We've ripped a lot of things out, like anything to do with consciousness. Like, for instance, I believe that a conscious or sentient weapon should be mysticism. And the reason I say that is because isn't psychic stuff all about consciousness? Shouldn't an item that has its own consciousness be that? Maybe not everyone will agree with me on that one, but I personally feel that way. And in our system, in our world, we have designed it that way. Let's see. Well, actually, that's all I had on my list. I would probably have a lot more, but there's no examples to actually look at for how they pulled it off besides Unearthed Arcana, which is basically ideas but never fully formalized. And yeah, you could have play tested and checked it out, but let's go back and think about what everyone's opinion was. It was broken. There was no balance to it at all, and it was completely embarrassing of an attempt, especially when previous editions had balanced mystics in their system. It's almost like they weren't wanting to bring them in. It's not exactly a fail as much as a lack of doing it. So, as I said, this was probably going to be the shortest one of the long forms of the D&D Failed series. But do tune in for next week, where I should be getting into the long form of D&D Failed Unarmed. Till then, catch you later.